Hi, Bob Leiter here, and welcome to this episode of Stepping into the River. This week we have a player whose articulated concern was, how do I look? What is my emotional impact on you as I'm playing? He's got a very intricate instrument to play, the Comanche, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But it requires a very complicated coordination between both his hands and his arms. When we run into that kind of thing, there's a temptation to brace in one place in order to move in another. I'm so free! To have a deep impact on an audience, you need to be able to play from that deep well of stillness that's within you, and to allow your constant rebalancing and renewing of your relationship to the earth to happen. That's where we encouraged him to go. I saw and heard the effects. I hope you do too. So please take a look and listen, and we'll see how it goes, and we'll catch you on the other side. Okay.
Camera on, please. We're good. Okay, so first thing, thank you for being the first guy. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 22 extra eyes,
Yes.
plus me, to help illuminate how you go about playing. But we're going to give a framework for them to do that. Right? So for you all, when you're watching and listening to Farzin, see if it looks like to you he's more active in his top half or his bottom half, or they're kind of the same. So we're going to compare activity, top half versus bottom half. Now I'm going to go like this. I'm more active in my bottom right now because I'm doing all this grabbing, even though my arms are moving, right? So it's that kind of comparison. Comparing left to right, front and back, and then what you notice about Farzin's breathing. And then we'll talk about that afterwards, plus whatever you want us to look for as well as that. So tell us a little bit about your instrument, what you're going to be playing, what you're particularly working on these days.
So I'm going to be improvising over a mode called
Okay.
Isfahan, which is a harmonic minor starting from the fifth. And I'm going to tell you about the structure of the instrument so you don't feel like I'm doing extra work.
Okay.
The bow is not tightened like a violin bow, so I control the tension with my fingers. As much as I want, as less as I want. That's one thing. And the thing is that bow is mostly going in only one direction, and it's the instrument that is moving
Really?
around.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Oh, yeah. Okay.
So if you see me do this a lot, it's not because I'm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And what else? The, this is a spike, so it's different than violin. The control is way harder, especially when you're moving.
Oh, right, yeah.
So it's hard to, but
Okay. Okay.
that's pretty much it.
Okay. And is there anything in particular that you'd like them to look or listen for that's sort of at the forefront for you just now?
Just what the body movements or the instrument movement, you like, how do you feel when I do something?
Okay.
But
Okay.
not in terms of like, is it good or bad? Is it like, does it look good? Or
So
do you
does it
think-
look good and the emotional impact, both
Yeah,
of those?
yeah.
Okay. So how does he look? How do you feel when you see him play? How do you feel when you hear him play? And how do they go together? Okay.
Sounds good.
I'm going to go over here. All right.
you using your head a lot to like, I don't know, it's kind of like, because I do this too when I play piano, like if I'm really into something, like I'll like hunch over and like kind of just like, I don't know, I feel like you use your neck to like push in your back and like arch it more.
Yeah, there's a little thing going on with that, isn't there? Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you. Anybody else on front versus back? You know, then we'll ask you.
So many answers.
No, the applause obliterates the words. How about you, front half, back half?
I do feel, I wasn't aware of it until he mentioned it right now, but I think that's not something that I'm doing consciously.
Oh, no, I agree, absolutely,
But
absolutely.
it's not like it comes from this sort of like I'm feeling it and like, so like if I'm playing like a simple phrase, I'll probably wouldn't be doing that. But if I come to a phrase that I really like,
Yeah.
then I'm gonna do like this to show like,
When
how much
you
it
move towards, and if I could remember its name, I couldn't pronounce it anyway, your instrument,
uh-huh.
where do you feel like you move from? Like, do you move from here, do you move from there, move from here, move from here? Try it.
I think I'm moving, I see this as, what do you call it?
One unit, yeah, sort of like a
Not, you know, when the two lines.
triangle, oh,
Two lines go together and
yeah,
they.
parallel.
Parallel.
Yeah.
So I see it kind
You
of.
see it as parallel, okay,
So
okay.
if I take this, I'll
Mhm.
kind of go, maybe
Okay.
I'll take, moving my head a little more.
Okay, and where do you feel like where in your spine does it feel like your head is supported?
I mean, now that I have this pain here.
Yeah, right, yeah, because I see it as kind of this height,
I see,
and that you're moving forward from there,
I see.
more than forward from here, right? And that's another one, there's a little exercise that we'll do that will illustrate that one, but, yeah, so the passion that's within you as you play this gets a little compromised because of this thing. Now, I'm gonna exaggerate, you know, so there's that, and it's not something you wanna do, it's not something you're conscious of, so if we could transform that somehow really into the musicianship, I think it'll do very well for you. I'm gonna do the hand stuff. Well, actually, when air comes in for you, Forzine, where does it go?
Like here?
Yeah, and then where does it go? Inside. So where is your idea of where your breath comes in?
Goes here.
Okay, so Forzine's idea is that he breathes into his front and up here, right? Check this out.
All right.
Most of your lung tissue, we were talking about back versus front, more of your lungs are in the back than in the front. Because there's gotta be room for your heart, you know, and other stuff. So when you breathe in, it comes down to there, right?
Mm.
And your head doesn't have to be held up by this, because do we have any singers? I forget. You ever seen singers perch? Yeah, that's a little of that, of what you see with Forzine, right? You know, it's a very common thing. Alex, I'll turn it off. So your head is moving and your spine is moving. There you go, along with your breath. So there's this, yeah, it's almost like in the ocean.
Is my head position right? Because I don't think it's right.
Well, I wouldn't say there was a position, right? But is it remember last week, is it held or is it balanced right now? What do you feel like? Is it held or is it balanced?
No, that's a good question. I feel both. So.
Yeah, so there's a little of both. And so head more to the balancing. And your spine is balancing at the same time. They're kind of there you go, wavering with each other. And then, see, this can move. Yeah. and these poor little rascals can rest. So, from there, with the rise and fall of your breath, and a bit more. That was really something. Was that a different experience of playing
I
for you?
did actually. I don't like to fake things, but I did.
What did you fake?
No, I didn't fake.
Oh,
I'm
right,
saying,
yeah,
like,
right.
If,
okay.
if somebody asks me,
Because I
like-
didn't see that, right?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
If somebody asks me, oh, did it change anything? If
Yeah.
it didn't, I wouldn't say.
No, right, yeah, right, yeah,
Because
no, I wouldn't want you to
felt
say.
this sort of. There wasn't as much tension on my head, first of all.
Right.
And I did feel sometimes even more dominant, which I practice every day to do more, and that's about, like balancing and stuff, being very dominant on your
Yeah.
fingerboard. I did feel like I'm just doing my thing and I'm just waiting here. It's
Yeah.
like only my hands doing
Could
it.
you all see that? I mean, because I agree with what you said. What did you see that lets you agree with that?
I feel like your sound was more present.
Oh, yeah, oh my goodness, yes. And I
Not
was
that it
wondering-
wasn't good before, it was great.
Yeah,
before,
that's
but
what I was
just-
thinking to myself, that was so good before, what's gonna happen now? Yeah, it was even better.
Yeah, it was a bigger sound.
Yeah. Yeah, what I saw was less effort.
Mm.
So your energy went into playing instead of working and playing, or more than working and playing, and that your emotional channel was really running much more clearly, when it came out. Before I felt the space between you and the instrument, I had felt it was a bit squashed, but this time it opened up like this, and his sound opened up correspondingly. That was. What else? What else for Farzin?
He definitely seemed less tense.
Yeah.
I did notice his shoulder, I felt like immediately when he started playing, his
Yeah.
shoulders tensed a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that's because of how he has to move his arms. I don't know how,
But it was far less.
definitely.
Far less.
His head it seemed more detached from that tension.
Right.
It's-
Right. Yeah, it'll be interesting for you to watch this and just look at what's going on through here, because that really quieted down and stuff.
What did you do to my head?
Nothing. What did you do?
No, because
No.
I felt like I'm keeping it up, but in the same time there is a resting point. But like
Yeah.
When I came to, because I don't like my neck to have this arc.
Right, because that's the one where you're sort of supporting it from that height when you
Yeah.
get forward like
Yeah.
this, right? What I encouraged you was to have that move all the way down through the fullness of your spine.
So do you mean
So that
like
it
in
moves.
a line or?
No, oh my gosh, no. Can we do this on, I know you have to leave.
No, it's fine.
Between your head and your spine together, there's 5 curves, right? Let's start here. Greer, show us perfect posture, real quick. Great, perfect posture. Perfect posture. Perfect posture. Excellent, perfect posture, okay. Perfect posture, perfect posture, perfect posture, perfect posture, perfect posture, perfect posture. All of those, remember we were talking about holding versus balancing. Are those more held or are they more balanced?
Help.
Held, right? So people go for this straight line, sit up straight. That's held, because there's 5 curves with your head and your spine. First curve is your head coming around like this, and then resting and balancing in between your ears. This is stuff that we covered last week. Second curve changes directions, right? So it curves this way, and that's your cervical spine, the neck part. Third curve is the same shape as the first one. It changes directions again. This is the part of your spine that your ribs attached to. Fourth curve, the hollow of your back, yeah, lo and behold, it changes directions again, right? Fifth curve, your tailbone, one more time, it changes directions. So you got a triad, 1, 3, and 5 that are heading this way. And then you got 2 and 4 going the other way. So what I was encouraging you with my contact with my hands was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that you can move up, rather than
I see.
this, where you lose curve number 2.
Mm.
And you kind of lose curve number 1 when you do that. And that sets you up for trouble.
I see.
That makes sense?
Kind of. Can you just
Sure.
fix it again?
One, you can.
Yeah,
You can.
that's
I
what
just-
I'm trying.
So
because
your
it was-
image, 5 curves, 1,
Okay.
2,
Uh-huh.
it's an internal image, 3, 4, all of this is moving, 5, and it's all rebalancing every moment. Yeah, there you are. Yeah, there you are. There you are. And so you don't have to hold it in place because your head, remember we had all this, you know, this
Oh,
business
so it's
there.
like if you keep your nose down.
And then the back of your head goes up. Goes up.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
man.
Hi, welcome back. This student found the nuance and depth that you can find when you're constantly rebalancing with your head and your spine. There was a wonderful image that he talked about, that he had about everything being straight. And while we had addressed that using our hands, before I also talked him through it, and you'll see more of this in another video. But there are curves with your spine, curves with your head, curves with your hips. Everything is constantly moving, constantly rebalancing, constantly refreshing your contact with the earth which is supporting you. And when you're fully supported that way, life is good. And for him to go through the verbal demonstration as well as doing the stuff with my hands that I did earlier, sort of was a light bulb moment for him, and everything worked out well. So I hope you enjoyed today. Hope to see you next time, and bye for now. Okay, bye-bye.